Okay, guys, we're back here with part 2 of this AWA wrestling figure review. I'm going to be showing you some of the loose figures in this collection. We're going to take a look at them now, so swing around with me. Okay, so this is my collection of the loose figures. This is Paul Ellering. He came in the 3-pack with the Road Warriors. Back there we have Carlos Colon and Abdullah the Butcher. Now, those two guys never were a part of the AWA. Abdullah the Butcher might have done a few shows here and there. Maybe the same with Carlos Colon, but they were never really part of the organization. They actually were very popular. They had a very popular feud in Puerto Rico for Carlos Colon's wrestling company down in Puerto Rico called the WWC. And for some reason were able to get figures made when they had nothing really to do with the broader American audience. A couple of referee figures were made. These are neat. This is actually modeled after a real legitimate referee. This is Dick Worley, and he's kind of a famous referee. He's been around since the 70s, and he's no longer with us, but he finished his career refereeing in the AWA and was able to get a figure made after him. Now, the time this figure was made, Dick Worley here was about in his late 60s. And as you can see, he's been really keeping up with the tricep pushdowns and dips, because those triceps are popping right out of that shirt. I don't think Dick Worley looked like this with his shirt off. I'm just guessing. Coming along here is the NWA champ that you're all familiar with, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Comes with his classic robe, of course, and the world's title. Very poor likeness on that guy. Doesn't look at all like Ric Flair. Those are those fabulous Freebirds that I showed you earlier. This is Nick Bockwinkel. He was kind of like the poster boy for the AWA. He'd been with the organization pretty much his whole career. You know, won their heavyweight championship a few different times. Also no longer with us, but this is his figure again in his 50s when this figure was made, and look at those 50-year-old abs. He's doing good. This is kind of an unusual... actually, this isn't the one that's unusual. This is the referee that came, I believe, with the Battle Royal playset. Generic referee. This is not really molded after anybody. However, there's a third referee that comes with the Battle Royal playsets. He was just packaged, you know, it was just a random packaging, and he had like a monster's face. He had like wolf teeth sticking out, and because they reused heads from their other action figure lines, and they just, I don't know if it was a mistake or if, you know, I don't know why, but they gave the referee a monster's head. And as you can see here, they obviously reuse their toy molds, because this guy has these, you know, pretty intense, looks like metal, you know, or steel armbands or wristbands that you would think would come from some kind of a Warriors line. So they reused a lot of parts in the AWA line. So this is a more rare figure. This is Doug Summers. Now again, a lot of these guys are not household names. Doug Summers probably wouldn't be recognized anywhere today. In fact, he might be working at, you know, Subway or Walmart right now. But he was a tag team champion in the AWA and was in their organization when they were making wrestling figures. So this is one of the last figures of the line. So he's a little bit more rare. This is about a $100 figure. So this is Doug Summers. Now, he comes with a jacket, but I didn't spend the $100 to get this figure. I spent about $20 to get him loose, which was a steal, and then I found somebody on eBay who actually makes replica clothing. Man, it's such a world of nerds out there. Makes replica clothing. So I got that jacket for like $8, and, you know, sort of completed my Doug Summers figure. A couple others to take a look at. scan through all of them. Now, I don't have, actually, let me come back, sit down and talk with you a little bit more. Okay, so I don't have any of the last figures, the final series. These figures are very difficult to come by. I think they were released for a very short time, and then the line died, and I think shortly after the AWA folded. So if you were able to get your hands on these, you've got a nice little chunk of cash sitting there in your, tubs in the basement. Even if they don't come with their accessories or clothing, these figures are $300, $400, $500 figures. Complete with their accessories, I've seen them go for, $1,100. So we're talking about, probably won't get them all, but a manager named Sheikh Adnan El-Kaisi, who of course was playing a Iranian or Iraq gimmick at the time. Completely not his original culture, but he could do the voice, I guess, so he could play the guy. So the Sheik, guy named Nord the Barbarian, who, if you're familiar with early 90s WWF, he went into the WWF as the Berserker. And in the AWA, he was known as Nord the Barbarian. Wrestler named Boris Zukov, who, again, All-American, playing a Russian character because he could do that Russian voice, which I obviously can't do. But he got a figure made, and he went on to the WWF as well and had a tag team run there, where he was obviously a little bit more known. Those three, and I know there's another one that I'm probably forgetting. Yeah, I can't, but they are expensive, and there's a lot of reproductions, a lot of custom figures online on eBay. A lot of people are jumping into the have been making the reproducing the clothing, reproducing the accessories, which are really simple. I mean, it's like, red cloth with a hole cut in the middle and a gold belt tied around it. That was the Sheik's, dress or whatever he wore. So probably, a couple of dollars to produce, and people are spending $25-$30 on these accessories because then maybe they can get the figure a little cheaper and put these repro accessories on him and make him look great on the shelf like I did. So I don't know if I'm going to find them or get them at a price that I feel good about paying. Who knows? But that is the last line of AWA figures. Now, they made a few. Of course, if the figures are selling well, you have to capitalize on the interest in the line, and so they came up with these little thumb wrestlers or finger wrestlers. I was never really into these. I don't know who would be, but I have them now, of course. This is Ric Flair and Larry Zbyszko. They came in 2-packs, and there were only a few made, a handful of characters made. I think I have pretty much all but one of them. They also made, so you remember Muscle figures back in the day, the MUSCLE figures, Muscle. Those little flesh-colored, plasticky things. They jumped on that craze, I guess, and the AWA and Remco came out with their own little Muscles line. These are called mini mashers, and they are just tiny little figures, same size as Muscles. In fact, some of the flesh-colored ones actually look like Muscle figures, but for some reason they colored them, so you have a few that are green and blue and red, and then the flesh-colored. So this is a mini pack, like an 8-pack of mini mashers. Now, keeping with the same Muscles theme, they also came out with a bigger pack, and this is a 12-pack of mini mashers. All of the characters are locked behind their cell door, and it says, "Whatever you do, don't let them out." Well, I didn't. I kept them in here. The marketing worked. So, just little collectibles. I don't know back in the day if you were a Muscles collector. I don't know really what you did with them. I mean, they were tiny. I don't know if you had, wrestling matches with them or not, or if you just kind of shoved them in a drawer. But now, when I see something like this, I'm all over it. I'm excited to see it. I'm grabbing it. So these are AWA mini mashers. Quickly, towards the end of the line, they were producing 2 packs of figures, but would also include a VHS tape of matches, like a 30-minute, heavily edited VHS tape of matches, including the guys that were in the 2-pack and others. So this must have been in a Rick Martel, Michael Hayes 2-pack. So it includes the Rick Martel, Michael Hayes match, Larry Zbyszko versus Larry Winters, the Long Riders versus the Road Warriors, and Jimmy Garvin and Steve Regal versus Kevin Kelly and Paul Brown. I have never popped this in the VCR. I should. I don't know why I haven't. But this is I think there was about 4. So maybe there's like 3 or 4 tapes floating around out there. So that is about it for the AWA line from Remco, produced in 1985 and ended in about 1987 or 88. Great line. I had as many as I could get my hands on as a kid. I don't think I had all the ones that I have now. I found a lot of these later on in adult collecting, but I had a pretty good chunk, and when I wasn't playing with the LJN figures, which we're going to go over next review, I was certainly getting my fix with the AWA figures. I remember going back and forth. I'd play with the bigger, clunkier rubber LJN figures, and I don't know if it was possible, but when I got burnt out on those, I would switch and play with the smaller AWA figures. Again, just a lot of a lot of nostalgia. Even sitting here talking about this stuff with you just brings back a lot of nostalgia, even though I'm down here almost every day and I'm looking at this stuff. But talking about it and sort of being forced on camera to come up with memories really takes me back to I don't know, just probably the greatest time ever to be a kid, in my opinion, was the mid-'80s. So that's my wrestling figure review. A little while from now I'll do a collection review on the LJNs. That's really the main event. That's the steel cage match of this collection, is my review and discussion of the LJNs and the backstory and the history of those figures and what they meant to me. Coming up on my channel, Tuesday is tomorrow, Election Day. So probably Wednesday or Thursday I will hit you with another pickup video. And I've decided that my pickup videos are not just going to be Tuesday new release Blu-ray shopping day, because I'm really not buying Tuesday new releases. So my pickup videos are going to include Blu-rays that I picked up from pawn shops and flea markets, pawn shops and thrift stores, and Best Buys and things like that. But it's also going to include other items that I've grabbed on my hunts during the day. So I have a little stack over there that I'm excited about showing you. So we'll do that. And later in the week, Saturday night, I'm going to do another Saturday night movie night or Saturday night movie event. And another horror movie, I'm thinking Carrie, the 1976 Carrie, or The Birds, keeping with the Hitchcock theme that I started in my first movie event when I watched Psycho. We might be looking at The Birds. In fact, now that I'm saying that, I'm probably leaning more towards The Birds. So I'm thinking the Saturday night movie event, which will be posted next Monday, is going to include The Birds. And this time, guaranteed, I will be cooking on that channel. Cooking some fun snack foods. All the kids are in bed. Dad's eating by himself, kind of cooking, and drinking some good beer, watching some good movies, and talking a bit about it. So again, thank you very much. I will end all of my videos by thanking anybody who has watched, anybody who has left a comment. I'm enjoying talking to some of you. If you're watching this, you know who you are. I've enjoyed talking to you. I've enjoyed responding to your comments. And I'm appreciating the subscriptions. I'm really having a blast with this. Hope you guys are as well. And we're just going to keep it going. So next video you'll see from me is going to be a pickups video earlier or later in the week. See you next time. Thanks for coming along the 80s Revolution. Take care.